And welcome back, everyone, to part 9 and the final part of What If Naruto had a Zanpakuto, the Hyōrinmaru edition. As you can see, we changed the thumbnail because if I was giving him Hyōrinmaru, you would assume at some point this form would come into play. But let's back up just a little bit. Where did we leave off in the last part of the series? Well, Pain invaded the village. Naruto, actually, it was really Sasuke and Kakashi together who was able to beat him. Naruto showed up going, what happened? Oh, I guess I should go talk to him. And was able to ultimately make him see Ninja Jesus, if you will. Then you had the Kage summon still happen. Kisame and Deidara tried to go after B, but they made a mistake of going after him in that spot he was where Sasuke and the group were. Sasuke and Taka went for him, which was a lot closer to the village, and therefore A was able to come in and ultimately take them down. I did argue whether or not Kisame could survive the fight. It's not impossible, given ninja tactics and the fact that, when you go under the water, there is ground, there is soil under the water. There is a lake bed or whatever you want to call it. So Zetsu could have popped out from under there and slapped a Kisame at some point. I believe, if I remember correctly, I said that, yeah, I think that's what we can go with here. But the Kage summon was still calm. Add on to the fact that Tsunade did not have to overtax herself or extend herself, and she was the one who was able to go in not her stead, but in place of Danzo, who was not chosen in this case. Due to the fact that he actually was called out by Sasuke, having learned what he did from Itachi, and then went on the run because he realized, no, I'm right, you're wrong. The village, the village is weak. It needs to be, bolstered up. I need to be Hokage. I want to be Hokage. And so, obviously, Obito went and got Nagato's eyes, declared war on the ninja villages, and so that's where we left off, with the caveat of Orochimaru and Danzo coming together and joining the Akatsuki, joining Obito. Also, they can get ultimately what they want. In Orochimaru's case, he wants Sasuke. Danzo's case, he wants the Kage position. Obito's case, well, they don't know exactly what Obito's plan is. They just know that he has a plan to kind of bring them down. And in theory, what's going to happen is they'll all work together and get what they want. Well, yeah, obviously Obito's like, yeah, sure. That's not what's going to happen, but sure. Now, again, just to recap, some people have said they don't understand why Orochimaru would join Akatsuki or whatnot. I've always said that it's a alliance of convenience. If they can both get something out of it, and Orochimaru has worked the Akatsuki before, and there's not enough there to really oppose him, then I don't think it's out of left field for him to join the Akatsuki. Honestly, Danzo might even be the more inclined, because he is just so high on his own self. Like, he just believes he should be Hokage and that his way is the right way. And since the Akatsuki were originally mercenaries anyway, it would make sense that he could maybe try to broker a deal with them. And so, the alliance is made. The war has been declared. And Naruto is still sent off his way to train with Killer Bee for his Nine-Tails chakra. Now, Naruto here is a lot more in the know is actually a better way to put it. Because I remember correctly, and I believe I am remembering correctly, he was not even aware there was a war going on. He was just training is what he was. But here, it's more along the lines of, we do need to keep him safe, but he does know at least enough of what's going on. I think he's got a little bit more, not ear to the grindstone, but his ears open, eyes open, all that. Still, he's training, goes to Killer Bee, goes to the waterfall. He sits down. His dark reflection comes out. Although I think it could look a little bit closer to, like, say, Hyōrinmaru's humanoid form, like a dark dragon version, ice dragon of him. But ultimately, he overcomes that. When he goes to meditate, Hyōrinmaru is there in his dragon form with Naruto. Naruto, are you sure you're going to do this? There's no now or never, Hyōrinmaru. As long as I got you by my side, I ain't backing down. Very well, then. And so, he undoes the seal, and Kurama comes out. He immediately goes, Bankai Daikurin Hyōrinmaru! And so he's basically goes toe to toe with Kurama. Hyōrinmaru is also there in the Mindscape, though, so he's able to lend his own power in a different way. He's able to help fight independently with Naruto. Naruto's throwing the Rasengans. He's got Sage Mode going on. Hyōrinmaru freezes Kurama in place at one point, and Naruto just throws like the biggest attack he can at Kurama, trying to freeze him in place. Kurama busts out of there. Ultimately, they go into their tug of war. Naruto does start to lose the tug of war until, well, I should back up, because him going for the seal, Minato would have shown up. Now, Minato, because he doesn't have to reseal the seal, actually has a lot more power he can use here. So I could even see Minato, it's Minato, not Minato. I'm vaguely mispronouncing it. I can see Minato, I can see him actually aiding Naruto in the fight as well, to the best of his abilities. But when he starts to get overwhelmed, Kushina also pops up. And then her and Minato obviously have conversations about the night the Nine-Tails was sealed in Naruto, why they chose to seal him in Naruto. We wanted to do it for your own protection. We wanted you to have the power to help, change the world and help protect others. And Naruto, wipes the tears from his eyes. Hyōrinmaru is also kind of there listening. And they looked at Hyōrinmaru's, thank you for taking care of our son all this time. It's like, it has been my privilege and my honor. And so Naruto shows back up again. Kushina's binding Kurama down. Naruto goes toe to toe. He does oh god, hold on. Can I get the name of the technique up here? It's like basically it's ice flower, more or less, in terms of like a translation. It's not quite ice flower, but it's something in that vein of a translation. Toshiro Hitsugaya. What was the name of the technique? Basically, the technique is you stab someone, usually in the throat, and it just is out in the shape of a giant flower. So, one second. Where is that? Where is Fred Nina? Sorry, Creature Commandos. Oh, Fred Nina, we fought Nazis together. Cheers to the Tin Man. So, that episode apparently screwed Mark up a little bit. Like, holy crap. But no, what was the name of the technique? Was it multi-layer vacuum wall, subjugation to heaven? Go away. Shinken Bankai. There we go. Was it? Oh, Ryusenka. Case in freezing them. Yeah, it was Ryusenka, which was a Dragon Hail Cross. And sorry, it wasn't a flower, it looked like. It was more of a cross, like I remember now. It does, and thinking on it now more vividly, it does look a bit more like a cross than a flower. So he stabs it, frees Kurama again, ultimately takes his chakra from there, then resealing him, having now access to Kurama's power. Yeah, the Nine-Tails Foxglove. Now, at this point, Naruto starts training. Eventually, it should be known, they do find out Kisame's there. And, he'd end up dying the same way he did in the original. The war is really in motion at this point now. Now, it should be noted that Danzo and Orochimaru and Kabuto are all kind of lingering in that location that Kabuto was in the original, that cave, to keep hidden. They are using the Edo Tensei to bring the individuals back to life. Now, as a lot of people have said, Kabuto used Edo Tensei differently than Orochimaru did. Orochimaru robbed him of their free will, whereas in personality, whereas Kabuto basically gave him complete the directive, but you still have your personality. And he felt it would be like more psychological warfare, more or less. Would we get a compromise on that here? Would that happen? Probably not. Although I could see Kabuto at least bring it up and Orochimaru thinking on it and make, interesting. Give them a directive, but let them torture themselves and the others with their personalities still intact, Kabuto. I must admit, you are quite evil indeed. Very well, then. And maybe he could use it that way. Now, one other thing that I definitely wanted to check in on before I did this is the White Zetsu Army. I know that Yamato being stolen stolen. Well, I guess he was stolen, kidnapped, and his power basically being applied to the Zetsu strengthened the Zetsu's overall strength chakra abilities overall. But I had to be sure it also didn't increase their numbers, and I was right. It didn't increase their numbers. I was reading it up. He had the flat 100,000, and this just strengthened them. It didn't increase the numbers. It just strengthened the soldiers within the ranks. But that being said, Donzo does have a little bit of the first DNA in him, thanks to his the surgery he's had on his arm, his body, all that. So would Donzo, as like a gesture of goodwill, allow that to happen? I would say yes, but as a trade-off to have Itachi's eyes implanted in him, because Orochimaru did get access to Itachi in this version. He did take Itachi's body. Or at least Obito or Akatsuki, one of them did. And so, as a trade-off for having a little bit of the Hashirama cells that are inside of him to help strengthen the Zetsu to whatever degree, he gets Itachi's eyes implanted in him as well, giving him a couple extra Izanagi's to use. So yeah, it is needless to say not a good spot for Sasuke in this version, because Sasuke now doesn't have his brother's eyes to rely on for Mangekyo anymore, or Eternal Mangekyo, I should say. I don't think that disqualifies him, though, from accessing the Rinnegan, because that was Hagoromo basically saying, all right, and mind you, Sasuke was on the verge of death. That had nothing to do with his eyes. That was Hagoromo saying, okay, I'm going to activate this now, because if it were the natural progression of the Sharingan to actually turn into the Rinnegan, he would have had 2 Rinnegan after the Eternal Mangekyo. Granted, Madara had that too, but Madara was also an injury reincarnation. So, and he still had to access Ashura's DNA chakra too. So that's arguably why, and I believe that's one of the biggest reasons Sasuke probably only has 1 Rinnegan, because while the 6th stage, his Indra chakra was activated and morphed one of the Sharingans, it didn't morph both Sharingans because he doesn't have the full access chakra from Naruto. I mean, that's my theory. There's a couple theories on why that is, but I think that's the most prominent theory, that the 6th path chakra did turn one of his Sharingan into a Rinnegan. But whether or not he needed to have the Eternal for that, I don't know. I'll say this. I don't think he would need the Eternal for it, but I'm willing to be wrong on that. That's not something I'm going to stick to. But anyway, that's your thoughts on that. So, meanwhile, the war is going on. Now, Sasuke is probably helping out on the battlefield. Maybe he's with Kakashi. Maybe he's actually just given his own position of rank, helping out. And eventually, Naruto would eventually go out into the war along with B. He's going Bankai. I would imagine he goes Bankai in his fight with Nagato and Itachi. That's the fight that goes on. Now, this right here, I think, is a very key point, because this is not something I have brought up yet. Koto Katsukame. Sasuke, Naruto, he didn't need to put it in Naruto in this version. So, did he put it somewhere else? I think the answer would very much be yes. He probably put it in Sasuke. And so this fight would not go well, actually would go a lot harder for, not well, but it would go a lot harder for Naruto and B, because Itachi would actively be, fighting against them along with Nagato. Now, Naruto, with both with both his Kurama chakra and Daigyo and Hyōrinmaru, would probably be able to keep them both at bay, but unfortunately, it would probably go pretty rough for a while. B is also can only do so much against someone like Itachi and Nagato at the same time. But Itachi trying to put them in Tsukuyomi wouldn't work, luckily, thanks to Kurama being able to just snap out of it. Mind you, the perception of reality is still very, not Kurama, but like, we know that perfect Jinchuriki are nigh immune to Genjutsu. It takes exceptionally powerful Genjutsu. Like Infinite Tsukuyomi, even B wasn't able to get out of that. So Tsukuyomi is a possibility. Let me know if you think perfect Jinchuriki like Naruto or B could get out of Tsukuyomi. Because Infinite Tsukuyomi, we know they could not get out of, because B got captured in it and couldn't get out of it. Kurama is stronger than B by about twice as much. Actually, no, if I remember correctly, he's twice as strong as all the other tail beasts combined, if I remember correctly. And then he's roughly like half of the 10 tails when all of his powers back together. It's something along those lines, something like that. In some, again, I can't remember the exact mathematics. I just know that it's a big margin between him and the rest of the tail beast. Yuki is still very powerful, but not as powerful as Kurama. And Kurama is, generally speaking, stronger than even all the other tail beasts combined. I know that's the general, but anyway. I would say that Naruto probably. I mean, Itachi probably does recommend don't look in my eyes. If you get look in my eyes, I'll hit you with Tsukuyomi. I don't know if he'll be able to stop it. Like he's still able to warn them, kind of like how the Mizukage is trying to warn the Alliance. Like, no, find the real me. It's like what? You're using Genjutsu. How can we fucking find you? I keep telling you. But yeah, so maybe Naruto. But luckily, Naruto has his negative emotion sensing, which admittedly probably wouldn't work here, but he's also got Sage Mode, which he might be using in conjunction with it. I mean, he wasn't at first, but eventually he learned to. Anyway, so they're struggling Amaterasu, but Naruto's able to use ice to block the Amaterasu, using the vacuum walls to kind of like block a lot of the strikes. Eventually, though, because we know Sasuke was kind of heading in that general direction in the original. Sasuke's probably doing his own thing. He probably can actually sense the chakra of Naruto, and he senses Itachi. Heads there. He gets there. Itachi sees him, and then just protect Konoha. And activates Koto Kasagami in Sasuke, which then is destroyed by Itachi. And that's where Orochimaru is saying, Itachi, he's on a different level. So that's the way it's going to be, is it? Very well. And finally, he gets out of the Genjutsu, or the control of the Edo Tensei. And then they're able to beat Nagato. Woohoo. So eventually he said, Itachi. And it's like, hello again, little brother. Thank you for freeing me. And it's like, no, Itachi, wait, there's a lot I still want to talk to you about. Then let's do it. Protecting our home, Sasuke. You can tell me on the way. And so, very well, they go off and they talk it out a little bit. It's like, I'm not sure if I can forgive the village. It's like, it wasn't the village's fault, Sasuke. It's like, but I can't stop. Maybe not, but I definitely can't forgive him. To which Itachi, the ever pacifist Itachi, for what it's worth, even goes, no, that should be in truth, Sasuke. That I can agree with. And so he will pay for everything he's done. And so they go and they're going to confront Orochimaru, Danzo, and Kabuto. Now, Naruto would still be on the field. He's got Bankai activated at this point. He's going to aid everything. Madara has been summoned at this point. He summons the meteor. Naruto is there. Naruto basically kind of flies up and just basically slices it in half with like a giant blade of ice, combined with the Kurama's chakra. And Madara's like, the nine-tailed fox Jinchuriki is here. I see. And this blade. Fascinating. He throws ice, but the Susanoo just like, this I've harkened back to when I used Benihime against Madara, because Benihime's Bankai allows you to restructure anything, including create tears and things for like openings. So even something like a chakra construct means nothing to it, because like, hi there, poop, poop. I'm gonna say boop. But here it's like, okay, no, just ice. Naruto's ice petals, by the way, right now would be about halfway gone, and Naruto is just, just drawing the fight out as best he can. Meanwhile, now this is just a clone, mind you, but all the clones still have these ice petals. Naruto eventually, though, would run across Obito in the other Jinchuriki paths of pain, and is like, oh crap. So his Hyōrinmaru with Rasengans, they're able to keep them at bay, especially with Hyōrinmaru being able to help at range. It helps a lot. Ultimately, though, he gets swallowed temporarily by Son Goku, and Son Goku communicates with him, tries to freeze it, gets the rod out of Son Goku's, neck, and, Naruto's bummed that he won't free him. The long and short of it would be, he does access Kurama's chakra at this point. Now, when the chakra fades and he's beating down the tail beast and it's just Obito, he's down probably at that point to his last pedal. Back to the other plot B. Itachi and Sasuke get to the cave. And there's, Kabuto's there overlooking the Edo Tensei. It's like, well, welcome. Glad you can make it. And and obviously, he's like, glad you could make it. I can't angle. I have no lighting in here that will allow me to angle my eyes in a way where it gives like that light effect. It's like, it's over. Now where is Orochimaru? It's like, Lord Orochimaru? Well, he's everywhere, really. He's in the walls, he's in the ground, he's in the sky, he's in the water. And Sasuke's like, enough games, and he draws his blade. It's like, oh, but if you really want, but he's not the one you really want, is he? Or is he? I mean, sure, he's controlling the Edo Tensei, but Sasuke, isn't there someone else you'd really like to talk to right now? And Wayne suddenly comes out and tries to slice them in half. Itachi and him kind of jump out of the way, and they're using Sharingan. Eventually, you see the glowing eye of Danzo, and there's Orochimaru behind him as well. Well, it would seem they've gotten quite strong indeed. Even dead, Itachi is still avoiding, or not still avoiding attacks. He's still a problem. Indeed, he should have been wiped out after he wiped out his clan. I'll have to correct that mistake. Unfortunately, I can't undo the Edo on him without undoing the Edo on everyone else. This is Danzo and Sasuke, Uchiha. You should have been wiped out that night along with your family. You have been a burden on our village for far too long. I've been the burden. You're the one who called for the extermination of entire people. I did it for the betterment of the village. You did it for the betterment of yourself. You don't care. You've never cared about the village. You care about because you think because Itachi chimes in. You think the Hokage is the village. You think and because of that, you think you should be Hokage. You think only of yourself, Danzo. You always have. Insolence. When this is all over, when this is over, when the villages lose this war, I'll be instated as the next Hokage, and I'll bring the true era power to this village. We will be the strongest village remaining in the entire nation. But first things first, and Itachi and Sasuke both just go Susanoo, and the fight begins. Orochimaru is focusing on Itachi. You'll have to do better than that, Itachi. You forget I'm the one controlling this jutsu. While I might not control you anymore, I know its ins and outs. I can't kill you, but he just saw spikes kind of he summoned snakes which turn to spikes and try to bind Itachi. But if I can just keep you from moving and bind your chakra, then you'll be nothing more than a sentient puppet. Meanwhile, Danzo's using Izanagi to basically just fade out of existence. Itachi sees this and just, Izanagi, impossible. Sasuke just, what is this move? You don't know, Sasuke. I'm using your brother's eye. You should know it very well, seeing as your brother's eyes are being used to help me with it. Oh, no, sorry, this was his arm. It's like, what? And Itachi was accused. He must have implanted my eyes into his corpse. Be careful, Sasuke. And unfortunately, Danzo's Koto Katsukami isn't going to really be useful here, just because it's a bit more of a subtle influence type of effect, and heat of battle, not so much. The fight would go on for a good while until eventually, until Orochimaru finds himself actually not realizing he's stuck in Izanami. Danzo, meanwhile, just gets flat out killed. Again, Sasuke is able to just wear him down. Eventually hits him with Amaterasu. He has to get his arm off of his body, and Sasuke just it's like, this is for my mother and my father. This is for my brother. This is for my clan. You brat. And he tries to basically just takes Sasuke with him. And the seal, like, I believe it was like a seal, like almost like a black hole seal. And I think Kabuto maybe gets caught in the middle. It's like, and Sasuke, but Itachi uses Susanoo and just seals the entire effect into the Susanoo. Just, and so Sasuke just, my eyes. He's starting to go a little blurry. Like, he's overusing his eyes a bit. And Itachi finally talks about, Izanami and Izanagi, their relationship with each other. Ultimately, he forces Orochimaru to release the Edo Tensei, but Madara's like, yeah, no. Meanwhile, back at the plot, Obito, is ready to fight Kakashi and Guy, and Naruto basically just is on his last pedal, and he can see it, Obito, he can see it crumbling. And it's like, well, looks like your power's almost done, boy. Looks like your power's almost done, boy. It would seem that, it would seem that your time is almost up. You're right. Your time is almost up. No, I said your time is. That's what I said. It's like, that's what I said. You see, that's the thing. As the ice flower slowly starts to crumble, Hyōrinmaru's power is so great, I actually can't control it. So it's hard for me to control, at least in its entirety. So I had to build up to using it all. And even Kurama's like, wait, what? Because Kurama probably only kind of paid attention a little bit. He never cared about Naruto training with the dragon. He wanted to take control of him, but now he's on his side. And Naruto's like, you see, these flowers, these petals, they're not a countdown to when my Bankai ends. They're a countdown to, and then it finally crumbles. They're a countdown to when it's at full power. Daikyorin Hyōrinmaru, and then ice kind of bellows around him. Although it'll be interesting to see what the effect looks like in the anime. But now, the question: does Naruto get aged up at all? I don't think so. See, Toshiro's like only, in terms of a physical body, like a 10-year-old kid, roughly. Whereas his full mature body is more closer to like a 20-year-old. So it ages him up to a full adult because his body is just that his older body can handle that better. Whereas Naruto's a teen. He's not in his 20s. He's not quite fully growing yet. He does grow, I think, a little taller between that and the last, which is more or less his adult height. But honestly, I don't see it aging him up very much, if at all. Still, though, Naruto, is revealed to look like this. The giant wings are gone. The petals are gone. He's still got his Bankai. It's just armored, like ice armor. It's got the collar, all that. And I believe he does gain access to like some minor wings if he starts to like fly. If I remember, I think. But as it stands, he's standing ready to fight Obito. Unfortunately for Obito, he's not aware of what this power is. Now, if you'd like just a recap, I literally have it right here. Much like his initial incomplete Bankai, a complete Bankai allows him to gain vast, near all-encompassing control over ice and cold, allowing him to freeze massive objects at once. However, in this form, Toshiro's ice gains a new ability. Instead of freezing physical objects, he can now freeze concepts and powers. And physical objects, obviously. Anything he freezes with his ice will lose all powers. An example of such is when he freezes Gerard Valkyrie's Hofang. Hofanang, he additionally froze the hope that the powered the blade, rendering the blade damage reflection ability useless. Beyond that, he can flash freeze in extremely large objects at a distance with a simple hand gesture. This extends to objects that his sword cuts, and due to this form's special ability, anything he freezes will have all of his functions negated. If anyone touches him while he's in this form, they'll be flash frozen, and he can basically just flash freeze all matter in front of him within 4 seconds after a power buildup. So in essence, this would be a broken power in Naruto. Like, all matter, like, we're not talking, not just all matter, but powers and concepts. We're not talking, like, physically freeze a tree and it's, it's just frozen. No, we're talking about if a tail beast bomb came at him and he had 4 seconds, he could freeze it and it would lose all its power and just be a block of ice. That's it. That's the type of power we're talking about. Because concepts, energy, matter, all that's levels of power manipulation that Naruto just generally doesn't show. except for like the rarest occasions. And even then, it's usually not to that level of skill. Like I think, what was it? Is it Jingen or what's Ishiki has like the cool shrinking ability, which isn't really this kind of power, but kind of is a type of power like that. It's very much a in fact, there's another. Who's the character? The little kid who in Boruto who's got like a was it a Shinsu? Is that what it's called? Those like godlike abilities, where any attack that is directed towards him, any ill that has any ill intent towards him, is just reflected back to the opponent. If someone tries to swing an axe at his head, the axe shows up in their head. If this kid tried to do anything and try to be a smartass and just touch him, he'd die. Like it would negate his ability completely. A, because it negates abilities, but B, because there was no intent behind it. The only way you could actually kill that kid, at least right now, is if you were to have like a sleeper agent like with a bomb in and blow him up, because it wouldn't kill the guy because the guy who tried to kill him, there was no intent behind it. Now, would that be reflected by I don't know. Anyway, I digress. So when Naruto's like, yeah, it's like, sorry, buddy, but there's no time to play. It's time to end this war. It's like, end this war. You really think you're going to end this, Nine Tails? And Naruto's just holding up his sword. Actually, probably even holding up his hand almost like a blade, just turns. So it's just, as Obito's talking, and Obito's just frozen there, and dead. Like he's dead. Like if Obito had Kamui openly active at the point, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked because his body's not actually there. But the fact is, he has no idea what Naruto's ability is. Naruto can do this from a distance with a flick of his hand, with a hand motion, and Obito wouldn't even know what was going on. This is all assuming, by the way, that Obito didn't actively have his Kamui activated. I would have to assume that he didn't, or he wouldn't. He's probably only got it active regularly in combat, like when they're in combat, but they're just kind of like talking it out at the moment. There would have been no real reason for him to do that. So, unless he's just on constant alert, which is possible. But it would also mean that because Obito every time was trying to touch Naruto so he could take Naruto, it means that if you try to touch Naruto, it's like, you're my it's just like. So Obito is actually SOL in this version, I think. Now, that doesn't mean Madara doesn't still show up, however. And Madara, unfortunately for Madara, he can't get resurrected because Obito just got completely nerfed and his Rinnegan was attached in there, which means Rin Rebirth isn't usable. That Rinnegan is done for. So, and the Zetsu's like, what? And so when Madara comes back, Naruto just decides to own the battlefield at this point. Goes into Kurama complete Hyōrinmaru mode. And he decides to square up with Madara himself. It's like, what have you done? I ended this. And so, yeah, and Madara's like, you think you're so powerful. And then Naruto's just like staring him down as like, you think this is over? Just because the Rinnegan is gone doesn't mean I have lost all. Now, here's the question. Honestly, could Madara use Rin Rebirth as an Edo Tensei? I'm going to look up Rin Rebirth real quick just to know what the specifications for the move is, because he's got a soul at the moment. It's in a puppet body, but he's got a soul. So. And you need life, but does he have life force? Maybe that's the catch. Let's see here. Rin Rebirth. I've never actually considered this, but could a Edo Tensei use the Rin Rebirth? Let's see here. Okay. It's usage. Rather, they are seemingly revived with fully restored chakra levels. This causes you to not require hospitalization to recover after revival. Technique can also be used to transform the corpse of a vessel into revived into a real body. However, whereas the rest of the incarnation Madara was revealed by his eyes instead of crumbled bone deaths. Well, we don't know why that was. He didn't actually have his eyes when he died. On the occasion, it was able to resurrect a large number of people. Okay, so there's no. Oh, maybe there's in the trivia section. Hold on. There's nothing saying Mono would eventually be revived. Instead, expressed disappointment. Eventually, Black Sasuke forced him. There's nothing saying an Edo Sensei couldn't. Because, I mean, Madara had a Rinnegan as an Edo. Same in Nagato. But I think it's because they're not alive. Because it says it's an exchange for the user's life. I'm guessing that means life force, and because they're just spirits in corpses and dirt dolls, if you will, that's probably why that can't use the written reversed. Meanwhile, so basically, Madara's just, he goes into complete Susanoo and Naruto. This would literally be the Gerard Valkyrie fight with Toshiro again, because Gerard was huge, honestly, frankly, much bigger than the Susanoo. And he just went, freeze. And Naruto's just kind of, 4, 3, 2. It's like, and one's like, I will end you now! And just like, there it is, just a frozen statue. And Naruto just creates a tail beast ball, just annihilates them. Like it ceases, it negates everything. So it negates even the resurrection capabilities of the Edo Tensei itself. Similar to how the truth-seeking orbs did destroy the spirits of the Edo Tensei. This would negate even that. So yeah, Madara is just kind of done at this point. And the Zetsus are like, what the hell happened? And so the whole war would end with them basically taking care of the Zetsus. Would Black Zetsu get away? I don't think so. Because maybe he tries to go and rescue the Nagato body that got Nagato body, Obito's body, but then is unable to. And I believe he was keeping a Rinnegan too. So that is one catch. I believe, yeah, he was keeping one of the Rinnegans for himself. Like Obito could only implant one Rinnegan in him. And I give my dog a belly rub right now. Go baby, you should go baby. I love you. Go baby, I love you. But yeah, so he tries to implant it in some, or find some way to use it, only for him to get found by Naruto again, just frozen, or burned alive by someone like Sasuke, who comes to the battlefield. They basically end the war. Now, unfortunately, the Edo Tensei would still have the tail beast kind of contained, so they would probably be spending a good while trying to figure out how to get these things out. But eventually, I think they would figure it out in some way, shape, or form. Maybe Naruto even snatches the one Rinnegan that Black Zetsu had on him. It's like, you don't deserve this. And perhaps down the road, through whatever means, through whatever scenario, you have Naruto and Sasuke still activating their six paths abilities, which maybe then allows them to release the six paths or the tail beast from the tail beast statue or the Genoma statue. Long story short, once complete Hyōrinmaru comes into the picture, none of the villains can do anything against Naruto. This isn't one of those Zanpakutos where it's powerful but not able to break the story. For example, I'm trying to think of Minazuki, for a perfect example. Powerful, but not story breaking. Another one, Tenken. Powerful, but not story breaking. Even Nozarashi, powerful, definitely aids in the story to a great deal. But then you get Ichimonji, or Ryujin Jaka, or even Benihime. Depending on the ability, some Zanpakuto can straight out break the story. For example, later on, whenever we get to, I'm trying to think of a couple right now. Whenever we get to, Senjumaru's Zanpakuto, was it? Shigarame. Whenever we get to Shigarame, that thing's gonna break the story when we get to that thing. Or, again, I'm just spitballing the ones off the top of my head right now. Sakanade, and Hapafusagari, it's Banka. That would be a story-breaking one. Sakanade is just going to be a fun one. I really always like Sakanade a lot. But things like Senbon Zakura is going to be powerful and aid in the story, but isn't going to be story-breaking. Kazeshine is going to be a fun one when we get to that. or just thinking of a couple other. Oh, or like what was it? The eighth Kenpachi's Ashitara Soya, his Zanpakuto. That is story breaking. But what about something like, say, Zabimaru? Excuse me, powerful, but not story breaking. So Daiguri Hyōrinmaru's complete full power, kind of a story breaker. It makes sense. He is among the more powerful captains, certainly. Either way, though, we end essentially with everyone, everything ends, all's well that ends well. The war is over, and peace is kind of broken out. Naruto would ultimately go on to marry Hinata, because he would still have the Naruto last movie. Still, he'd probably handle him even easier now that he's got a complete Hyōrinmaru. He'd be older, so more training means that, because complete Hyōrinmaru is what Hyōrinmaru's full power is supposed to be like. Its true power is supposed to be like, which means whenever Hitsugaya gets to the age that he looks like this, that's what his Bankai is going to look like. It's not going to be Daiguri Hyōrinmaru with the giant wings or anything. It's going to be that, which means he'll have all his normal abilities and then all the abilities of that. So really, an adult Hitsugaya would actually be a prime candidate to be a head captain candidate. He probably would surpass Shunsui at that point. Power-wise, we know it's flat state. Kenpachi is the most powerful in terms of raw Ryatsu and physical strength in the Gote 13. But in terms of who would be the next best head captain, like maybe a couple hundred years down the road, I mean, Byakuya is actually the next best candidate. Shunsei even says that in Can't Fear Your Old World. But Hitsugaya, whenever he gets to this physical state, would probably be the real next good candidate for it. Anyway, yeah, so he'd probably get hitched with Hinata. Sasuke would marry Sakura, obviously. There's not really anything to change for the pairings, really, except Ino does not get with Sai. Sai never once really came into this story at all. So Sai, if anything, Sai might be dead at this point because he was still a loyal root member. But who would I pair? I guess that's where we can end it. Who would I pair Ino with? Who do I think is a good match? Is there anyone in the village that could still work with her? I don't think Kiba's a good match. Choji, we know, marries Karui, and I'll be honest, I don't know where that one came from. You could have easily. A lot of people always kind of paired Ino with Choji, saying it's perfect. He's a very sweet guy, very lovable. And it would be a great arc for her shallowness to kind of disappear with that. I don't think. No, we'll leave it at Karui because there's no reason why she would go with Choji over Choji meeting Karui. So I'm gonna guess it would be someone outside the village, unless she decides to go for younger guys and marries Konohamaru, which I don't think that's gonna happen. Because he's a minimum 3 years younger than them. I mean, I guess it's not impossible. But let me put it this way: if you can logically have Shikamaru marry Tamari, you could, in theory, logically, have older Konohamaru marry older Ino. You could do that. Because Tamari is older than Shikamaru by about 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. Tamari. Yeah, I've heard some people give, whenever I, pair a character up with someone who might be a little older. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not doing a 10-year age gap. That ain't happening unless they're already adults. So you're not seeing Naruto get paired up with Shizune or anything like that. That is gross. But yeah, so yeah, she was already 15 to 16 in part 1 and 19 to 20 in part 2. Whereas Shikamaru is where are you? Shikamaru is give me their age ranges here. Give me the age ranges. Anyway, it kind of sucks that she didn't know any other elemental releases. Where Shikamaru was 12 to 13 or 15 to 17 in part 1 and 15 to 17 in part 2. So yeah, Shikamaru married an older woman by about 3 years. That's realistically, once you get older, age gaps become a little less of an issue. But if we're talking younger, that's that's a little bit of a gap. That's a 3-year gap. That's a bit of a gap. So look, Konohamaru, I especially turned up pretty well too. So I'm not saying Konohamaru would be a bad option. I just don't see him really being interested in Ino. To be frank, a lot of people actually pair him up with Hanabi, and honestly, I do like that idea better. They did seem to be in the same age range, or Moegi. Moegi apparently was the bigger one because she actually does have feelings for Konohamaru as the current Shinju that she is that is took her body and memories had feelings for him too. Yeah, this is the last part of this what if is me just figuring out who to pair Ino up with. If I were to take a look at everyone from each village real quick, I don't really see Darui being an option either. Plus, it's just too much of a repeat of Choji and Karawi. Anyone from the Mist? Chodoro? Actually, that's not a bad. Yeah, he becomes the Mizukage, but I mean, maybe she goes to live in the Mist because Karawi came to live in the Leaf. It's not an unreasonable ask. Or Kankuro, because he matures up, so maybe she finds that his tattoo is actually kind of attractive. Or maybe she finds things to Gara. Maybe she realizes Gara is really actually quite an attractive guy. He's got a lot to offer. If anything, that would actually be a really good union of villages and allies to marry a Kage. If I were to throw out which one of the ones I've suggested, I think they're the most feasible ones. Darui, Konohamaru, Chodoro, or Gara are the most feasible ones. Gara I kind of like the Garo idea. Garo. The Garo, yeah. That would be a different pairing entirely. Cosmic Garo marries Ino. He's got mind reading abilities. No, her marrying Gara, I kind of actually dig on that idea. Because he's a very soft-spoken, but he's also a very mature guy. He's actually and when he's not in bad, he's actually very peaceful and reasonable guy too. So he'd actually be a very kind, probably gentle husband, and she'd probably dig the soft side of him. So, epic, yeah, I like that idea. Let's go with Gara, which means that the only kid we need to figure out real quick is was it Inochi? Is that the name of their kid? I think it's Inochi, right? So, because it looked like a very pale version of Sai with blonde hair. What would their kid look like, I guess? First off, what would their name be? Would it be Inochi or Inora? Just trying to think of a name here. Rasa, Gara, Tamari, and Kankuro. That's that family. Let's just say Inochi. Inochi is still the name of whatever the name of the kid is. It's still that. But instead, I could see maybe the raccoon eyes. I believe they're a byproduct of his insomnia, not the Shikaku. But maybe I can't remember. Remind me what the raccoon eyes are a byproduct of. It might be a little bit of both. Regardless, I could see, I'm like outfit wise, because their kid basically wears Sai's outfit. That's what their kid wears. I could see it being more of a mix of, like, say, Gara's old outfit mixed with a little bit of, like, Ino's colors. I could see them having Gara's magnet release, which he does have magnet release. And, yeah, so a combination of that and the Yamanaka mind manipulation, like, literally just keep them there, then bind them with sand, swap back, and then crush. Dude, that's actually a powerful kid right there. Holy crap, I didn't think about that. Now, I talked about this before, but I forgot to bring up Kitamaro and Tayuya. I really did, because I brought them up that they were in the village. They weren't going to be they weren't going to be posing a very important part in the story, but I just felt it was kind of fun to bring them up. But I could see a scenario in the war where they fought the Edo versions of Kimimaru, Jirobo, and Saka and Ukon, which I believe they were resurrected too. So I could see that happening, fighting their old teammates. And yeah, Kitamaro and Tayuya's kid. Let's talk about that real quick. Maybe. So it is apparently something that is exclusive to Kitamaro, is the arms and the webbing. But that doesn't mean it couldn't be inherited, or at least taught. Maybe the kid does have just one extra set of arms. and it uses a combination of his dad's metal skin, metal webbing, chakra infused webbing that he has, and mom's genjutsu without the flute. Maybe. But again, let me know if you want me to do a video on how powerful, like making the kids of different characters and stuff like that, a series. I would actually be kind of down for doing that series. And if enough people ask me, I'll do it. Maybe I'll just try doing it once just to begin with. I've already got a strongest character build series. I've got a lot of different series that are just off and on series that I just get to when I feel like it. That one sounds like a lot of fun, because the longer I think on it, the longer it would be fun to have Ino and Gaara together at some point. All right, I digress. I went far off the rails on the last part of the video, but yeah, thinking of who Ino would be paired with if Sai isn't around was a question. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll have a poll up for the next What If. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.